Hi, it's Mark at FBA2USA. Come to FBA2USA for hints and tips on getting started on Amazon Seller Central if you live outside the USA. Today I've received a question about intellectual property, and from someone quite innovative I've received the question: is it a good idea to save money on your intellectual property costs by employing an overseas legal representative or patent attorney from a jurisdiction which is cheaper than your own? So, to be specific, for example, it's quite expensive to get IP protection in general, and it's certainly an expensive thing if you do it in Western jurisdictions. So when you're thinking about IP protection, it's certainly tempting to consider, should I get a lawyer from somewhere else? After all, the registrations can be done by an attorney anywhere, as long as they properly represent who you are, where you're from, and what it is you're actually protecting. So, can you get somebody in an overseas jurisdiction to do it? Well, in my view, probably not. Despite the fact that you can employ an expert in your own jurisdiction or indeed anywhere in the world to get something done, unless you're actually registered as a patent attorney in the jurisdiction that you're trying to get your patent or trademark or any other form of intellectual property protection, you probably find that you're not actually qualified to do it, and you certainly are a lot less likely to know the ins and outs of getting a good result for those more complex issues. So, while you may approach someone and consider doing it, typically someone in an overseas jurisdiction trying to get protection inside the US will actually use an agent inside the US, and that's where a lot of the cost comes. So perhaps the more sensible thing is to directly approach somebody inside the USA and see if they will represent you, thus saving the cost of having the intermediary and potentially saving yourself any foreign exchange inefficiencies, because you'll be paying US dollars for the US representation and for any fees associated with any registrations. So it is something to consider, using someone to try and save cash, but in my view it is not a valid approach to try and use an intermediary in a jurisdiction that is typically cheaper, such as the Philippines, India or China, because they're still going to have to go through somebody in the US if they're going to do it properly. The other thing is, of course, just to consider, what if it goes wrong? When it goes wrong, one of the things that you're going to look to do is potentially, depending on how successful your business has been, sue the party that ineffectually tried to register your IP. That's going to be a lot harder if you're trying to do that to someone in China or India than if you're trying to do it directly to someone representing you inside the USA, or safest still, someone who happens to be your IP representative in your own home jurisdiction. Those are my thoughts. Welcome any comments on this video, and if you want a more detailed training on this, I will put one together for members inside FBA2USA.com. Thanks.